The Starship Eclipse drifted silently through the void, its sleek metallic hull reflecting the faint glow of a distant sun. On board, the crew of 6 humans and 1 very curious alien girl named ZX were busy with their respective tasks. ZX, a member of the insectoid species known as the Kryll, had joined the crew as part of an interspecies exchange program. Her iridescent exoskeleton shimmered in the artificial light, and her multifaceted eyes darted around the room, taking in every detail with childlike wonder. ZX had been fascinated by humans since the moment she first encountered them. Their soft, squishy bodies, their strange emotions, and their inexplicable love for something called coffee were all subjects of endless curiosity for her. But today, she was about to learn something that would shake her to her core. "Hey, ZX," called Dr. Elena Martinez, the ship's medical officer, as she entered the common area. "I need to run a quick checkup on you. Standard procedure after that last mission." ZX tilted her head, her antennae twitching with curiosity. "A checkup? But I feel perfectly fine, Dr. Martinez. My exoskeleton is intact, my energy levels are optimal, and my cognitive functions are." Elena held up a hand, cutting her off with a smile. I know. But it's protocol. Humor me, okay?" They sighed, a sound that came out as a soft chirp, and followed Elena to the medical bay. The room was filled with advanced equipment, some of which ZX recognized, and some that looked utterly alien to her. She hopped onto the examination table, her 6 legs folding neatly beneath her. Elena began the routine scan, running a handheld device over ZX's body. The device emitted a soft hum as it collected data. ZX watched with interest, her antennae twitching as she tried to decipher the readings on the screen. "So, how does this work?" Liz asked, her voice filled with curiosity. "Does it penetrate my exoskeleton? Or is it scanning the surface?" Elena chuckled. "It's a bit of both. The scanner uses a combination of ultrasonic waves and bioelectric sensors to get a detailed image of your internal structures." ZX's eyes widened. "Internal structures? You mean you can see inside me?" "Yep," Elena replied, her tone casual. "It's like taking a picture of your insides. Helps us make sure everything's functioning as it should." ZX's antennae drooped slightly, and she shifted uncomfortably on the table. "That's a little invasive, don't you think?" Elena shrugged. "Maybe. But it's necessary. Besides, you're not exactly shy, are you? You're always asking us about our biology." ZX's antennae perked up again. "That's different. Humans are so strange. Your bodies are so soft and vulnerable. It's fascinating. But me, I'm a Kryll. We're sturdy, resilient. We don't need to worry about what's inside us." Elena raised an eyebrow, a smirk playing on her lips. "Is that so? Well, let's see what the scan says." As the device continued its work, Elena's expression suddenly changed. Her brow furrowed, and she leaned closer to the screen, her eyes narrowing as she studied the data. ZX noticed the shift in Elena's demeanor and felt a pang of unease. "What is it? Is something wrong?" Elena hesitated, her mind racing as she tried to figure out how to explain what she was seeing. "Well, it's not exactly wrong, but it's definitely unusual." ZX's antennae shot up, and her voice rose in pitch. "Unusual? What do you mean unusual? What's wrong with me?" Elena took a deep breath, choosing her words carefully. "ZX, it seems that there's something inside you. Something alive." ZX froze, her multifaceted eyes widening in shock. "What do you mean, alive?" Elena pointed to the screen, where a small, pulsating mass could be seen nestled within Zex's abdomen. See this? Some kind of organism. It's small, but it's definitely there. And it's moving. Zex stared at the screen, her mind reeling. But that's impossible. I would have noticed if something was inside me. I'm a Kryll. We don't get infected. Elena frowned, her medical training kicking in. It's not an infection, Zex. At least not in the traditional sense. This looks more like a symbiote. It's living inside you, but it doesn't seem to be causing any harm. In fact, it might even be beneficial. Zex's antennae twitched violently, and she let out a high-pitched chirp of distress. Beneficial? How can something living inside me be beneficial? Elena tried to calm her down, placing a hand on Zex's shoulder. Look, I know this is a lot to take in, but we need to figure out what this thing is and how it got there. Do you remember anything unusual happening during the last mission? Anything that might have exposed you to an unknown organism? Zex's mind raced as she tried to recall the events of the mission. They had been exploring a derelict alien space station, searching for valuable technology. The station had been abandoned for centuries, but it was still filled with strange devices and artifacts. At one point, Zex had accidentally triggered a hidden mechanism, releasing a cloud of glowing particles into the air. She had inhaled some of the particles, but at the time she hadn't thought much of it. I think I might have been exposed to something, Zex admitted, her voice trembling. But I didn't feel anything. How could this happen without me knowing? Elena sighed, her expression softening. Sometimes these things can happen without us realizing it. The important thing is that we caught it early. We'll run some more tests, figure out what this thing is, and decide what to do next. Zex nodded, though her antennae still drooped with worry. Do you think it's dangerous? Elena hesitated, then shook her head. I don't think so. Like I said, it seems to be a symbiote. It might even be helping you in some way. But we'll know more once we've done the tests. Over the next few days, Elena and the rest of the crew worked tirelessly to analyze the organism inside Zex. They discovered that it was a highly advanced life form, capable of adapting to its host's biology and enhancing certain functions. In Zex's case, it had strengthened her exoskeleton and improved her energy efficiency. Despite the benefits, Zex was still uneasy about having a foreign organism living inside her. She couldn't shake the feeling that it was somehow violating her autonomy, even if it wasn't causing any harm. One evening, as the crew gathered in the common area, Zex finally voiced her concerns. I don't know if I can live like this, she said, her voice quiet but firm. It's not natural. I feel invaded. The crew exchanged glances, unsure of how to respond. Finally, Captain Reynolds spoke up. Zex, I understand how you feel. But this thing inside you, it's a part of you now. It's not just some parasite, it's a living being just like you. Maybe it's time to accept that and learn to live with it. Zex's antennae twitched, and she looked down at her hands, her thoughts swirling. I don't know if I can. Elena reached out and placed a hand on Zex's shoulder. You don't have to decide right now. Take your time. We're here for you no matter what you choose. Zex nodded, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Thank you, she whispered. I need to think. In the weeks that followed, Zex slowly came to terms with her new reality. She began to see the symbiote not as an invader, but as a companion, a part of herself that she had never known was missing. She